Good afternoon, everyone. How are we all doing? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, a fan channel made in Manchester. Welcome to your Friday afternoon news show, where we have a couple of very interesting topics on the table. One that includes Mr. Thomas Tuchel and all the kind of insight from a German journalist. Bit of a tongue twister, that, innit? From a German journalist, insight on Thomas Tuchel, why the job didn't happen, why he didn't go for it, why there may have been a potential clash between Tuchel and Ineos. So I definitely want to discuss that and the possibility of what would have happened if he would have joined United as our manager. Where would we be currently in the season? What kind of players would he have signed? I think that's an interesting kind of thing to debate. I want to touch on Matthias de Ligt's interview with United. I know it was a couple of days ago, I believe, but only just seeing some of the quotes flooding through now and actually got a chance to watch the interview, and I think there's some interesting kind of sound bites in there that I definitely want to touch on. And then international watch as well. A couple of our players have been in action over the past couple of days. You've seen records being broken, assists being made, own goals being scored. So we'll take a closer look at the United players who are currently on the international break and doing some bits for their club, for the country, sorry, not the club, because it's an international break, obviously. If you are just joining, make sure you do smash the like on the video for us, subscribe to the channel. We're 17 subs off 6,800. So if you are new, you enjoy football content, 2 daily live shows every single day. One at 12 o'clock, one at 7 usually. We have pre-match build-ups, we have watch-alongs, we have post-match reviews, we have previews of games, we have guest interviews, we have speed news. We've got loads and loads and loads of shows. So hopefully there's enough blend of variety and content for everybody and you enjoy the channel. So if you do, it helps more than you know. Please do hit that subscribe button and let's dive into the news together. So Thomas Tuchel, German pundit Marcel Rafe on Tuchel almost becoming the United manager in the summer. He said, I would have bet a lot that Tuchel would replace Ten Hag. I've recently had another conversation with someone who's very close to that. It was pretty far along, almost in agreement. That's how close it was with Thomas Tuchel. As far as the squad is concerned, the considerations were different. Tuchel said pretty much at the finish line, I'm not doing that. I won't do that to myself again. And that I go to a club and then things come from the outside. So like I said, interesting. Would it have been a bit of a car crash with Thomas Tuchel coming in? You know, he tends to have very firm with players. He's had history of it at Bayern Munich, at PSG, at Dortmund, and at Chelsea. Everywhere he's been, there's been a clash with some sort of a player. I mean, you saw the ongoing things like Kimmich and Goretzka at Bayern Munich, who are classed as like legends there, have been there for a long, long time. At Chelsea, there was a couple of kick-ups. I can't remember. I wish I could remember specifically with who it was, but there was definitely some hiccups with some players there. And then even his earlier time at Dortmund as well, like he's a no-nonsense manager, which some people say, and a lot of people was talking about him being the favoured option if Ten Hag was to go at the time when he was doing all these kind of meetings in Monaco, when he was talking to De Zerbi's camp and Thomas Frank was mentioned, and they had a bit of a four-man shortlist, which included Pochettino, didn't they? But at the time, a lot of people were saying, if you're going to go get someone, get Tuchel. You know, at least the guy's won a Champions League. He's managed some of the biggest clubs on the planet. He's very tactically flexible, but he's very stern and he knows what he wants. And the way Ineos want to go, and we said this at the time when Tuchel was linked with the job, you could see a potential clash there instantly. Tuchel's a man who very much wants to do everything, you know, control everything. Almost like Eddie Howe's a little bit like that as well. You know, almost from top to bottom, control everything. And I think that's why you saw Eddie Howe and Dan Ashworth have a bit of a clash, because they've got different kind of imaginations and pathways that they want to go. So Tuchel, in that sense, maybe that's why it just didn't end up happening. I think if Tuchel was like, you know what, if you guys want to run that side of operations and I'll just do the pure coaching, then I'll go for it. And maybe that would have happened. But look, when this thing gets discussed with the manager, people kind of brush it under the carpet and they'll say, oh, there was just, you know, interviewing candidates. They was just seeing what else is out there. You don't do that if you're sure in your manager. So the Ineos obviously have some concerns with Ten Hag, and maybe some of them already are coming to fruition this season. You're seeing with the style of play, the results that we're not getting, the stubbornness with selection, and just with his coaching methods. So they obviously had the worries, and they had every right to. United finished 8th. But with that FA Cup victory over the best team in the world against your Manchester rivals in the final, that completely swung it, in my opinion. For good or for bad, again, it's debatable, but that's what happened. So, yeah, it's interesting to ponder what kind of players Thomas Tuchel would have brought in, right? So if he would have come in, I imagine we'd probably have a different window. But then, would have we done? Because Ineos are controlling everything. So, I don't know. Maybe he'd have a preference. Maybe he wouldn't have gone for a De Ligt or a Mazraoui. Maybe Yoro and Nagate would still come in. Again, I don't know. I don't think Tuchel wouldn't have known Ugarte from PSG, would he? Because he's only been there for a couple of years. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting to discuss who he would have brought in. You look at the players that he works with and what kind of players that he likes, like versatile, quick learners, good pressers, and technically efficient players. And that's one of the reasons why he loved Mason Mount. Mason Mount was in his team week in, week out. Mason Mount had his best record under Tuchel, 10 goals and 10 assists in a Premier League season, which is pretty fucking impressive. Double figures in both. If you could have replicated that for United, I think we'd all be sat here absolutely. But he'd probably be our top goal scorer, the way it's gone for us. But obviously he's had his own injury problems. So yeah, I'm sure Mason Mount would have become or tried to become more of a prolific player for us under Tuchel, under a different setup. Obviously, he usually you see a bit of a backfire from him, but you've seen it, different at PSG. It was like a 4-2-2. At Dortmund, it was like an attacking 4-3-3. He's very tactically flexible and he's a good manager. He's a good manager, but you think of him being at Bayern as well. If I was talking about De Ligt and Rajara not coming, I didn't even think about. Obviously, they was at Bayern Munich, weren't they? So, and De Ligt weren't really getting the game time that he wanted. So imagine he jumped ship from Bayern Munich to Manchester United, and then it's like Tuchel's there, and you're like, oh, fucking hell, it's going to be the same shit again. I'm not going to play, am I? But obviously, then De Ligt might not have gone, because Ten Hag wasn't there. I think I'm going to touch on the De Ligt interview in a minute. There was quotes from there saying, like, the coach wanted me really bad, and the club wanted me really bad, and showing me how much they'd been keeping an eye on me for many years, and blah, blah, blah. So he was impressed with the way we kind of approached him. So I'll get into that De Ligt interview very shortly. Please do share to a friend. Share to a friend. I don't know who the fuck is a friend. Share to a friend. Subscribe. And yeah, get your opinions in, man. It's a little bit quiet in the chat. I don't know what's going on. Is it because it's international break or no idea? But anyway, we'll move forward with this De Ligt interview. So Matthias De Ligt, this summer when United came in for me, yeah, the trainer, Ten Hag, also wanted me really badly, and the club also. It made it, for me, really easy. To get the chance to play to the Premier League, first of all, and second of all, to, I think, the biggest club in English football history. For me, it was a really, really easy choice to make. Now, obviously, with Matthias De Ligt, again, I know what you guys think, but it's very early days in it. From what I've seen so far, looks like a traditional centre-back. Loves kind of old school defending, very, getting stuck in, decent on the ball, got loads of years left, and a top mentality. And I think you look at that price tag, could end up looking like about 40 million quid for De Ligt if he ends up turning into the prime De Ligt that we think we're going to see. And all those years ago when he got, is it called the Golden Ball or Golden Boot? I can't remember what it's called. Golden Ball winner, is it? That young at centre back. If he lives up to that reputation, that 40 million is going to look like a steal. Because a lot of people still forget, 24 years old, like that is mad young for a centre-back. And having already played, so let's say your proper professional career started, I think he was 17 playing at centre-back for Ajax. In the space of, what we're talking, 7 years, he's played for Ajax, Juventus, Bayern Munich and Manchester United. And imagine if he ends up at like a Real Madrid or something as well. Like, that is a mad career trajectory from very early. So at this point now, he's kind of, all he's looking for is game time. And he wants to be appreciated. And I think the fans are going to love him. I think he's going to get the game time he's looking for. And I think he could cement a place alongside the Sandro. And that could be a really good partnership. But equally, I think Yoro could come in and do a really good job as well. Where does that leave him, I suppose? He goes on to say they won 2 prizes in 2 years, obviously really good, but I think everyone agrees that United also has to play for the Premier League title to compete with other clubs that are fighting for this title. I think that's a really nice challenge and nice project. What I really look forward to is try and help the team with as much as possible. So yeah, how many years until we're competing at the top again? That's the big question mark, isn't it? How do we all feel? How long? 2 years? 3 years? 4 years? 5 years? The way it's going at the moment to be, competing right at the top again, the Premier League, to competing in Europe in the Champions League. I'm talking, this might sound a bit mad to people, but I think probably 4 seasons, I'd say, to really build. You use this season as a platform springboard to try get back into the top 4. I think at this rate, we'll probably finish 5th or 6th. I know that sounds negative, but you watch the way we play at the minute. You can't really disagree with it, can you? Just based off pure metrics and stats, if we continued on this run, you'd probably finish 10th or 8th again. So I think getting back near that kind of area That's like the first season. Second season, you kind of cement it in there and you're getting it regular and you know you're a top 4 side, and you're going further in competitions and you start to establish yourself again as a Champions League squad. Third season, you start pushing towards the top of the table, challenging them a little bit. You might finish third. You might be like 5-10 points off. And then that season, that's when you push and make you push and really go for it. I can't see it being turned around in, a year or two time. I don't think you guys are naive enough to think that also. Rangnick described this, don't forget, as open heart surgery. That's what we're dealing with at the minute. And Ineos have certainly, they've put together a few kind of wires, and if you're using the heart analogy, a few kind of, is it aortas and getting rid of some blood clots and stuff, but it's still not a fully functioning heart, and there's still some things that need sorting out, and it is a very delicate procedure, and that's why Rangnick used the analogy, because I think it's absolutely spot on. So, yeah, how do you grind out these inconsistencies with United? I think the signings of helping with that. You look at someone like a Mazraoui who's come in for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I think he's been phenomenal since he's come in. He's everything that we needed at right back. I would actually start him as our main right back going forward into the next kind of couple of games. We need Shaw to stay fit. We need Lissandro to improve his performances. Onana, I'm not convinced on at all. I liked the way he ended the season last year. And I was like, okay, we can kick on from this. But then I look at the goal that Liverpool scored, the third one, and I'm looking at his position in the net, and I'm like, what on earth are you doing? Why do you need to be standing there? It's like he's doing it just to take the piss, or like he's just kind of not concentrating, or I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like a personality trait or if it's just genuine confusion. I'm not sure, but he doesn't convince me. He was amazing for Inter Milan as well in that campaign. He was probably the best goalkeeper in the Champions League. And since he's come to United, he's just made dodgy, weird mistakes or just not made saves when you were expecting to. I remember Brentford last season when they scored a goal and it was just kind of P-rolled in and it looked very weird the way he was diving. It's an unorthodox thing, and I've spoken about this before. But, I don't know, Onana does not convince me in the slightest. I think Lissandro needs to step up. He does really well for Argentina, which again I'll talk about when we go into the international watch in a minute. And he was fantastic the first 6 months for us, got an injury, came back and was always good and integral to the way we played. I think he's been off it so far. I said, and I'll be critical of my favourite players. Lisandro Martinez, one of my favourite players in the team, if not, I absolutely adore the guy. But he has been poor. I think his positional IQ at times when he's stepping in and to press a player is off. He ends up committing a foul or he gets spun too easily. He gave it away a couple of times, don't forget, at the edge of our box, where they could have very easily scored but didn't take the chance, and then you'd be looking at him in the same light as like a Casemiro or someone else. Very small. He needs De Ligt alongside him for that physical profile, for sure. It's not like he's just turned small. He's always been small, and he usually deals with it quite well, but there is still some, I don't know. I look at, for example, centre-backs. So I think Romero and Van de Ven, I know they concede a lot of goals, but I think that's more due to the style of play rather than them being crap defensively. I look at Saliba and Gabriel. I look at, John Stones and Akanji, or John Stones and Ruben Diaz. Very tall, physical, relatively quick. Even, go to Real Madrid, you look at like Militao and Rudiger, big physical guys who are really good on the ball, but quick as well. And you don't have that profile with us. So I think there are ways where teams can get at us with stuff like that. I don't know. I know what I mean in my head. There's still just some concerns with the squad, but I think De Ligt's a good addition. I think Mazraoui's a good addition. We need to keep Shaw fit. We definitely need to sort out the midfield role, in which, by the way, there's a video dropping. I'm going to record it straight after this on why Manuel Ugarte is under so much pressure coming into this role and why there's so much scrutiny, and there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on him when he starts in that role. When he starts getting regular minutes. But that'll be recorded today, edited today, and probably put out for members early, either tomorrow or the day after on Sunday, I would suggest. So keep an eye out for that one dropping. I think that's going to be a very good video. But yeah, let's go to the comments because I've been talking long enough. Thank you everyone for joining us on a Friday. I appreciate some of you guys are busy, but yeah, it's always nice to see the regulars in the chat. You got Elite Baller, David Harrington, Stephanie Griffith, we've got Brian Case here, Culture Boy Culture, and I'm sure there's some others in there as well. David Harrington saying, getting sacked by Chelsea didn't do him any damage, but that last season at Bayern was a complete disaster. Winning with Bayern is almost a guarantee, and he failed. Yeah, definitely an asterisk against his name, isn't there, with that? But one thing I will say about Bayern Munich, and I said the same thing to kind of back up the LIGT, why he's not necessarily been a regular starter there. I think it's a shit show at Bayern Munich in general. I think from top to bottom, they had a load of issues. They got rid of a load of board members and brought in new directors, and we're going in a different direction. So I think it was a bit of a shit show there, to be honest. Even look at the seasons before Tuchel was there. It was kind of going that way. So yeah, but I do agree with your point. Even the year before he won the league, because Dortmund bottled it at home in the last game of the season. Steph saying, vote, like, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Culture Boy saying, I will say, let's stick with Erik ten Hag. So he's back in the manager. Brian saying, honestly, cannot believe we're 3 games into the new season and we're talking about the manager that should have replaced ten Hag. Madness, in my opinion. We've already improved on last season. Patience. Well, if you think we've already improved on last season, Brian, elaborate on that. Why do you think we've improved? Brian saying, we're in year 1, the Ineos era, the club has been rebuilt from top to bottom. It's only that open heart surgery on the squad that is happening. We're always filling the gaps. Now it's a reset. Steph saying, the LIGT chart and Ugarte spine will be fine. I think once they get regular game time together, we might be. You've certainly got leaders in there and warriors who will cover every blade of grass. Will put the head on the line. We'll die for the club. Basically, you've heard that from DeLitt. You've heard it from Lissandro, and Ugarte is that kind of player anyway. That's his profile. I feel like Erik ten Hag will win a big cup this year. I mean, judging off past record, he's won a Carabao Cup in the first season, he's won an FA Cup in his second season. You'd probably say it's going to be Europa League, right? Or something like that in his next season. Hopefully, I hope so, because even then if you finish 5th or 6th and we start to see a regular style of play being implemented and we're happy with it and it's attacking, we're scoring goals, we're not conceding as many, but then you finish 5th, but you win the Europa League, I think that might be enough to win United fans over. Now, we should never be striving for 5th. We're not Tottenham. But just the reality of the situation where we are at the moment, it is what it is. You know what I mean? That's just where we're at currently, unfortunately. So, yeah, it's going to be a slow process, a bit of a slow burner, but who knows? It might be worth the wait. On to International Watch. I'm sure you guys saw the biggest headline last night, and as a former player, 2-time player of ours, left in 2009, came back in 2021, I want to say, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Cristiano Ronaldo, 900 goals for club and country. Just say what you want about the man. I mean, I had a look at his YouTube channel the other day, and it's just basically a vanity channel where he's just talking about himself and isn't real insight into, his playing days or arguments he's had with players or how nervous he felt before a game. It's all about me, and, I like this, and I like that, and I strive for the best. And some people are a fan of that. I'm not personally. But anyway, I digress. Cristiano Ronaldo, 900 club goals and country. Insane. Says he wants to get to the 1,000 mark, and I absolutely believe he can. Probably going to end up going to the World Cup in it, let's be honest. And if he does, what an amazing achievement. Just shows how much time and effort he's put into his body and his mind, more importantly. Because still going at this age and scoring goals at international level when you're nearly 40 years old is fucking... I know Zlatan did it, but Ronaldo's just been efficient throughout his entire career. Look at the stats since he's past the age of 30. The goals that he scored is crazy. He's got the most international goals, the most Champions League goals. He's just breaking records after record after record, and he's incredible. So huge shout out to Cristiano Ronaldo. I absolutely adore the guy. Didn't like what he did with Piers Morgan and how that whole situation ended up, but look, I love him. Since he came in from Sporting Lisbon, I was a massive fan of Cristiano. So, yeah, huge achievement for him. And then, of course, his teammates, Bruno Fernandes got an assist for Portugal last night. Diego Dalot actually scored a goal, which Bruno set up. And then Diego Dalot scored an own goal. So, United players or Portuguese players were right in the mix of it in their game against Croatia, which they won 2-1. You had McTominay score, but, of course, not our player anymore, so it doesn't really matter, but he did score for Scotland. Christian Eriksen played 62 minutes in a 2-0 win over Switzerland. Sandro Martinez had another nice cameo for Argentina again. I saw some of his stats on the game coming out, very efficient. And Garnacho got an assist for Dybala, and it was only a little 10-minute cameo against Chile. 16 touches, 1 shot on target, 1 successful dribble, 1 key pass, and 1 assist. So, as a sub, you can't really ask for more, can you, to be fair? So, Garnacho and Lissandro doing bits again for Argentina, who are on this bit of a mad winning streak at the minute. I think Ugarte plays for Uruguay tomorrow against Paraguay, I think it is. Correct me, but it's like 12:30 at night. I'm not expecting anyone to watch it, of course, but he's going to be in action. How much are you betting? I bet he gets injured or something. I'm going to call it right now. I'm going to touch wood so it doesn't happen, but I'm going to call it right now. I bet Ugarte gets injured or something ridiculous happens. Fingers crossed. I don't want to even put it out in the air. I've said it now. But I hope it doesn't. and he comes back fit and firing because we need him desperately. On to England against Ireland, which I'm sure Brian Casey's looking forward to. Mainu and Maguire should feature for them. Again, I don't think I've seen the England squad. I know Rashford's not in it. Obviously, Shaw's not in it either, thank God, which is surprising. Maybe he miraculously gets fit for them again. But I expect Mainu and Maguire to get some minutes because obviously Maguire missing the tournament. He was gutted about that one and put his body on the line. So he should be back in with Lee Carsley as the new interim manager there. Yeah, you've got DeLitt and Xerxes. I think Netherlands play Bosnia, but Koeman won't play either of them because he's a gimp. I hate when people throw that thing at you. We go, oh, well, he don't play for an international team. It's like, if you understand how international dynamics work, it's not always they're not playing on merit. Do you remember when Tomori had that phenomenal season with AC Milan when they won the league? And Maguire was still starting at centre-back when he was in like the poorest form. It just depends on the manager and the players that he trusts and the players that he goes for. I don't necessarily mean the bad players. You can't tell me Weghorst is a better player than Xerxes, but Weghorst starts over Xerxes for Netherlands. Just coaches trust certain players and they like throwing him in there. It is what it is. And you can't tell me De Vrij is a better centre-back than DeLitt either. Fucking nonsense. So, yeah, they will travel with the squad. Whether they get minutes or not, I'm not entirely sure. It is against Bosnia, so you would expect him to at least to get some. And then I think Mazraoui and Ahmad are away as well. But I need to double check that. I'm sure Mazraoui's with Morocco and Ahmad's with Ivory Coast. But I don't really know what tournaments they're in because are they in the Nations? They're not in the Nations League, are they? No idea. So, yeah, a relatively successful stint at the minute for our United players who are on international games at the minute. Until we get a left-footed left-back in the team, our team shape and balance is not right. I think Dallow's done an okay job there. But yeah, I do agree. We've just had a full season where we've seen Lindelof, Amrabat, and Wan-Bissaka playing at left-back. So anyone who's frustrated and sick of seeing a right foot, I don't blame you at all. We had it with Brandon Williams when he came in as well. Everyone was like raving is going to be next best thing, and he's a right-footed left-back. I just want a balance. Balance is what I want. That'd be nice. Because it just opens up passing lanes. Everything goes narrow, doesn't it? Like, could you imagine if you had it for a full season, a right-footed, left-footed right-back and a right-footed left-back, how all you play would just be like that. All the traffic could just be going through the middle, then stifle the middle, then hit you on the wings. So, yeah, we absolutely need Shaw back in. But is anyone hopeful that he's going to come back and he's going to light it up and he's going to be amazing and he's going to stay fit for the rest of the season? I don't think anyone feels like that, do they? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not holding my breath with Luke Shaw. I feel like Erik ten Hag is good with young players. If he can do it at Ajax, he'll do it at Man United. Problem is our fans who want fast things. So, a couple of things on ten Hag, right? I like some of his qualities. I think he's good with young players. He's good at developing them. There's absolute evidence in that with Garnacho and Kobbie Mainoo and some of the other youngsters as well who he's kind of put in. No doubt in that he's good with youngsters and he knows how to develop them. The issue I have, and again, I touched on this in the video that I'm going to do after this about Ugarte, is his stubbornness to change certain things. Like, we can all see it as fans, opposition fans can see it, pundits can see it, and they are all talking about the similar issues that are in midfield and the build-up. Everyone's talking about it. So if everyone else can see it, why can't he see it? And if he can, why is he not changing it? Because it's not getting... The way he's going at the minute and sticking with it and being stubborn, it's not getting him results. And it's his third season now. So I think a good coach would be flexible enough to look at the situation with Casemiro and go, let's get a body alongside him. Let's push the centre-backs up a little bit. And it might not be as simple as that. I don't know. I'm not a coach. I don't have the A licence. You know, he might tell me to shut the fuck up and this is why we can't do it. That's fine. But just in my opinion, I just think you could protect Casemiro a little bit more. And you maybe don't push the wing-backs as high up when he's receiving it on the half-turn. Because you have two centre-backs. They play it into Casemiro. He's turning, like you see in the Liverpool game, he turns, there's fucking no one there. The wing-backs are right on. You've got the two kind of false nines or strikers are right up. Kobbie's pushed on. So the build-up's completely stretched. And teams just, boom, hit Casemiro, pinch it off him. You've got 1v1s across the pitch then. If I could notice that, and I'm by no means a coach... Why is he still doing it? Because we saw that last season. So if he's improved, I'd love to know how, because we're seeing the same things. We've already conceded less shots on goal this season. We've improved the starting 11 in numerous areas, and we're creating chances, not clinical in front of goal. And it was 3 mistakes that cost us. A fit striker, and we take minimum 2 of those chances against Liverpool, and it's a different story. We brought in Onana for his ball-playing ability, and I haven't been impressed with that side of his game. I know it's hindsight, but I'd rather have kept De Gea. Listen, I love De Gea. I think he's a better shot stopper than Onana. I don't even think that's a conversation. He is 1,000,000% a better shot stopper. I think Onana is better with his feet. Have you seen that? I think he's more risky though. And when you're a centre back, if you're the one person you want to trust in your team, to goalkeeper behind you, that's your very back line in your defence. If you can trust him, you can have confidence going forward. If he looks shaky and nervy and risky, that's going to have you on pins for the full game. And I think Onana brings that kind of... It just... when I hear him talking like, oh, well, you know, people thought we was risky last season, we're going to be taking more risks this season. I'm like, oh no, I don't think I want you to. We're going to end up conceding a lot of goals. Brendan, I'm gonna go to the game tomorrow. Just looking forward to the pints beforehand. It's like the Legends game. I've not even had a look at that lineup. I don't think. Who's playing? Put the lineup in the chat. I got asked if I wanted to go to that actually, and I was like, I don't really know. I'm not sure. Yeah, something else that popped up on the timeline, which I think is interesting. I don't know if you guys seen it. Angel Gomez is obviously a former United Academy graduate. Goes on a free, I think, next season or by the end of this season. Just been called up for England under Lee Carsley. Has some really good stats in the French league with Lille. Very good at retaining the ball. I've always thought he's too small. He's a very Diddy player, isn't he? Like I don't mean like P Diddy. That's a bit weird. I mean just like very tiny. And people was always questioning his physicality. Can he make the Premier League? But he's doing well in the French league. He looks good. If you can get him in on a free and bring him back, I don't know. I might consider it. Just something to maybe throw out there and put into the air. What do you think? What would be your first 11 at Manchester United? Good question, Culture Boy. If you are just joining, smash a like on the video for us and subscribe. We are, let me have a look and I'll answer the question, 16 subs away from 6,800. So if you're one of the people who aren't subscribed to the channel and you are new, you know what to do. Right, what would my best 11 be at United? I don't know, because are you basing this off form or players who are injured? If everyone's fit and available, I'd go Onana, even though I've just been kind of slating him, but because I've not seen enough of Bayern Day, and he didn't really pull up trees against Newport, so Onana is the default. Right now, I would have Mazraoui at right back. I think he surprised me a lot coming in. I was one of the ones questioning the signing at the time. Now I'm like, absolutely understand it completely. I'd start Mazraoui. God, you know what? I like the look of Euro in pre-season, but let's say, because he's a youngster, I'll put De Ligt, Lissandro, Shaw as your back line. I think that's pretty comfortable. You've got both wing-backs there in Shaw and Mazraoui. Shaw can cover at centre-back. He can invert, drop into midfield. He can offer them overlapping runs. Same thing with Mazraoui. So a lot of comfortability and balance. And then you go into the midfield. I'd say Ugarte, but again, you don't know how that's going to translate. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd say Ugarte for now because I think Casemiro's been horrific. And some games I would actually play Casemiro alongside Ugarte, so I'm not just writing Casemiro off completely. I would absolutely take a look at that. But I'll go Ugarte and Mainu as a double pivot, not just a solo six. I'd have him as a double pivot. Bruno Fernandes just ahead of him. Although I do really like Mason Mount as well. And then I would have Amad Diallo on the right, Garnacho on the left, and Rasmus Højlund up top, probably. But there are some tweaks in there. Like I don't mind Xerxes, but I think Rasmus, someone mentioned it before in the chat, that Liverpool game, if he's there, arrives there for them chances, he's scoring them 100%. So I can't wait for him to get back. And they're the two who are back after the international break, Højlund and Shaw, and they will make a difference to the team. Guarantee it. But what's yours, Culture Boy? Put yours in the chat. Lingham David, I think he'll be a better coach than Erik ten Hag. I know he's had problems with Chelsea, Bayern, but we need a coach that can make us difficult to break down. Yeah, of course, at Chelsea had the back five formation, which I've been a fan of. I mentioned this the other day, and a lot of people kind of went against it, but I don't mind him. I like him. I like that kind of setup, I think, as long as it's used properly. I said Mourinho won a treble with it. Italy won a Euros with it. Chelsea won a Champions League with it. So it can be effective. It just depends on how you use it. Onana is our Achilles heel. That's from Superfly. DJ Superfly. Yeah, he is at the moment. It don't fill you with confidence, does it? Steph's going Onana, Mazraoui, Malacio, De Ligt, Licha, Ugarte, Mount, Mainu, Garnacho, Højlund, and Amad. Interesting choice. Punch Paint. Dallo had a nice goal yesterday. Yeah, decent. Big up Real Reds Talk. Love this channel. Love this community. Cheers everyone in the chat. Nick, absolute legend as usual. Thank you, Punch Paint. Appreciate that, brother. I hope you're doing very well. I've actually had some good news today. That's right. I might seem a little bit more bubbly some good news. I'll wait till I kind of announce it, but yeah, it's good news. So let's see how it goes within the next week. But how are we all today? You guys are always asking me questions and what would you do with this and football opinion on this. But how are you lot today? Who's in work? Who's not in work? Who's working on a project? What he's doing? Chat to me, man. Let's have a conversation for the next 5 minutes. Where's Sean, by the way? Where's Richard? Where's Random Guy? Where's Shah Sam? Not seeing some of the regulars in. Concerned about him. I know Richard's over COVID now, innit? So hopefully he's crack me can. Sorry. Talk to me, people. What are we up to? Where are we watching from? I'm just going to double check while she's typing. I'm going to have a look if there's any... No, there won't be any breaking news because transfer window's shutting it, but I'm just seeing if there's anything that's popping up there that I've missed. I still can't get over that Osman move to Galatasaray. That's just absolutely crazy, that. Fucking nuts. Tennis has been popping off. I didn't know you was a tennis fan. Could never get into that, me. I don't know why. I understand why people like it. Like, when Wimbledon comes about, you got all the celebs there and stuff. I appreciate the cardio side of it because, my God, the amount of running that they do, the kind of static movements as well, back and forth. I appreciate the skill of it, but I've never been interested in the actual sport. I don't know why. Just never have. Same thing with cricket. I remember trying to watch cricket once, like the Ashes. I nearly fell asleep, honestly. But then people told me with cricket, you want to watch, is it T20 or something? Watch T20, it's a lot more lively, more active. The fans are more up for it. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Culture Boy saying Onana, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Leach, Uwate, Mainu, Garnacho, Ahmad Hoyland, and Rashford. Rashford still in the team. All good, Nick. Got YouTubes as usual. I'm meant to be doing work, but Ultimate Team instead. How are you still playing Ultimate Team at this point, David? Because by now, I stopped playing Ultimate Team end of June, I think it was. Because the ratings and the cards just got absolutely mad. You had like a 98 fucking Nicholas Bentner or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone was just the same overall. And you was packing like hullets for fun. So I don't like it when it gets to that point. I like FIFA when it's early stages and, you know, everyone's worth loads of money and there's not like loads of promo cards out. So I'll get the new EAFC. I might even do some streaming on that, actually. But yeah, I'm going to get that one. I'm going to get the new Black Ops as well. France versus Italy today. Who you got? Ooh, good question. You'd have to go France, wouldn't you? I think Italy have good players, but a little bit underwhelming in the Euros, I'd say. And France were as well, to be fair. Depends with it. It depends who they're lining up with. I'll have to see the teams and then I can make a proper judgment. But I'll go France. Are you worried by Rasmus' injuries record? 20 plus games missed in 1 year through multiple injuries. Yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on, especially with him being so young as well. I mean, when we brought him in, he had an issue with his back, didn't he? I believe something like was it a hairline fracture or something? I can't remember. Hotspot. Really can't remember what the technical term or the medical term was, but something to keep an eye on for sure. And I think that's why United have brought another striker in, because you can't just rely on him and play him through that kind of pain. It can ruin a player. Can I ask, why don't you do a video podcast where us as fans can talk to you so the podcast can grow? Do you mean like a call-in? Like a Discord call-in, Culture Boy? Just chilling at home, enjoying time off work. Brian, what shifts do you work? I'm sure you said you do nights or lates, didn't you? So my memory might be absolutely shocking on that one, but I'm sure you mentioned something like that. David saying, yeah, my full team's 99 rated, just doing it because I'm a sweat. Mate, we've all been there. Trust me, we've all been there. But yeah, look, we're going to be back tonight around 7 o'clock with some more interactive but new stuff as well. I'm going to go record a video on Ugarte, which will drop for members 2 days earlier, and then it'll go out to the public probably on Sunday, Monday, somewhere around that time. So yeah, really interested to get stuck into that and do the editing. I'll be doing that for the majority of the day. And then we'll be back live at 7 o'clock tonight. We've got an emergency meeting. So there's me, Adam, Aaron, and Sam, I think, on the show tonight. 4 of us on the panel. Emergency meeting, and we're going to break down everything at United and what needs to change and what we're happy with at the moment. And yeah, it's going to be a good show. I always like it when there's 4 of us on. 4 shifts, so it's 4 days on, 4 days off, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. for 2 days. Jesus Christ. Fair play to you, Brian. Fair play to you. Yes, a call, but video so you can see your fans. Right, we'll look into it. We'll look into it. It's something that we're discussing in terms of Discord calls and things like that. But if you guys want it, then we'll make it happen. I'll speak to Sam about it and we'll try and figure something out. But yeah, I'll leave it at that, guys. So like I said, I'm going to go record a video. I appreciate every single one of you. Like I said, if you're watching in work, or if you're off work, or if you're sweating Ultimate Team, or if you're watching tennis, whatever it is you're doing on this planet, I always appreciate your time and patience in the chat and for getting involved consistently. So hopefully, well, not hopefully, I'll definitely see you at 7 o'clock, but keep an eye out for that video as well. Take it easy, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel.